Okay, so mm, 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 mm. Table 1 summarizes the main predictions of the force reciprocity model as well as the signaling the preference-based reciprocity model described below. In recent work, Behaber and Troller proposed a signaling model that provides an alternative theory of explaining greater genericity of friends under anonymity. In their framework, agents care about being perceived as altruistic rather than greedy types, so they act more generously when their actions can be observed. Moreover, it is reasonable to extend their model to assume that individuals care more about signaling generosity to friends than to strangers because they are more likely to interact with friends in the future. A key distinguishing prediction of the signaling model is that decision makers should increase their allocation decision under anonymity compared to anonymity, both that prosocial behavior is efficient and when it is inefficient and when it is inefficient. Larger allocations are just as good, if not better, signals of generously when giving is inefficient than when giving is efficient. Additionally, excess giving under anonymity is independent of the level of altruism and model because signaling utility and distributional utility are additively separable. Okay, we assume a starting point that the decision makers have altruistic preferences, whereas strength varies from the social distance. We use a simple linear specification to capture decision making in the anonymous treatment that is a natural extension of existing preference-based altruism models. XMP equal alpha ZMP plus gamma DMP plus gamma M plus epsilon MP. We control the observable demographic characteristics of both individuals, Z and P. The coefficient gamma MP captures the decision maker's intrinsic generosity over all partners, independent of social distance, which we refer to as her baseline altruism. The coefficient gamma 1 determines how the decision maker's altruism varies from the social distance, which we call directed altruism. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. When examining revenue per shift, it is useful to restrict attention to behavior during fixed shifts. Recall that the management at Velobleeds did not allow workers to change their fixed shifts after the announcement of the experiment or during the experiment. An increase in the supply of shifts is fully borne by the sign-up shifts. Therefore, our experiment could not induce any kind of selection effect with regard to the fixed shifts, and the revenue change during the fixed shifts identifies the impact of the treatment on effort per shift. In Figure 1a, we show a log of revenue per shift in Group A and Group B during the 4 weeks prior to the experiment and in the 2 weeks treatment periods. We control for person effects in Figure 1b by showing the deviation from person-specific means. If we control for person-specific effects, we find that both groups generated almost identical revenues per shift during the 4 weeks prior to the experiment. During the first treatment period, however, Group B, which receives the lower wage, generates roughly 5% more revenue per shift than Group A. Likewise, in the second treatment period, Group A, which now receives the lower wage, exhibits roughly 6% higher revenue per shift than Group B. Thus, Figure 1 suggests that the wage increase caused a reduction in revenue per shift. In the impression conveyed by Figure 1 is further supported by the two regressions presented in Table 5, which are based on observations from Group A and Group B during fixed shifts. The dependent variable is log revenue of messenger E at day t. We include a treatment dummy in both regressions that takes on a value of 1 if messenger E at day t is in the treatment group, and we further control for daily fixed effects in E's tenor. Daily fixed effects are important because of demand variations across days. Tenure is important because experienced messengers usually have higher productivity. We do not control for individual fixed effects in regression, but for a messenger but for a messenger's gender. This regression shows that the wage increase leads to a reduction in revenue per shift, or roughly 6%. We control for individual fixed effects in regression 2. Okay, the retreatment effect is in reaction is virtually unchanged. The indicates a reduction in revenues of roughly 6%.